Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cretaceous Campcast. I'm Cretaceous Dave, and this is a podcast all about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Chaos Theory. In this episode, I have another, what did I call it? Random Rewatch of Camp Cretaceous. But before I get into that, got some Chaos Theory updates and news for you all. Um, First, before I even get into that, if production quality is a little substandard, I am recording in my car once again. That's right, I've got some time, a little break from work, decided let's go out to the car and record an episode. So you're going to have to deal with if there's poor audio or video quality or anything once I try to get rid of the background of my car. Anyway, enough about that. Um, First thing with chaos theory, you guys, if you're paying attention at all on social media, you've probably seen all of this already. So I apologize if this isn't news, but in case you don't pay attention to that stuff or you just listen to the podcast, I'm going to fill you in anyway. The first bit of chaos theory update is multiple retailers are now listing the release date for the junior novelization as June 4th. That is a month earlier than originally seen online. So that means the show's probable premiere date would be May 31st. The reason I'm going with that is every junior novelization of Camp Cretaceous came out the Tuesday after the Friday the show is released. So the show is released, then 4 days later the book is released. So assuming they're keeping that trend, the show will be out on May 31st, and that is awesome. We are, 3 months away? If that's correct, we are 3 months away, just a little over 3 months away. Very excited. That means a trailer should be coming anytime now. My guess is sometime in March, but from people I'm talking to, they're saying it could be literally any day. Nobody knows for sure. We don't know what's coming, when's coming. I know a lot of the bigger outlets get a heads up when a trailer's coming. As far as I know, they have not been told that yet, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking sometime in March, but March is just a few days away, so who knows? Let's see. The other big deal with the book is it's available in audiobook format. None of the Camp Cretaceous novelizations were available in audiobook, and I think that's really great because myself, I rarely have time to read, but I spend a ton of time driving. So I do like to listen to audiobooks. Listen to the Maisie books, listen to Jurassic Park and the Lost World like 1,000 times. I've listened to some Star Wars books. I just like listening to books. If I don't have any new podcasts to catch up on, I'll listen to a book while I'm driving to work or driving the dog somewhere or whatever I'm doing. So it's pretty awesome that Volume 1 of the Chaos Theory Junior novelization will be available in audiobook format. It's available to pre-order now on Audible, and it's probably anywhere else you may get your audiobooks from. So June 4th, date for the book and the audiobook, which means the show is probably May 31st. So keep your eyes, ears, everything open for that. The second thing, kind of related to the book, but did get confirmation from a very, very trustworthy source, is you may have noticed the book is called Volume 1. So that makes pretty much anyone looking at it think, okay, it's season 1, which would mean multiple seasons. I've been saying all along it's most likely multiple seasons. Things that some of the writers and storyboard artists posted on Twitter kind of implied there are more than one season, just based on how long they've been working on the show. If it's only one season, I doubt they've been working on the show for 2+ years. But hey, you never know. Maybe they wanted perfection. Anyway, talked to someone and they confirmed the show is, quote, more than one season. No one's going into detail if that means if it's 2, if it's 3, if it's more, but it's definitely more than one. So that has me super excited. I don't know about you, but I wonder if they're going to be kind of close together like Camp Cretaceous were. Season 2 just, bam, came out of nowhere right after Season 1. A lot of people are used to having to wait a year in between shows, and here it is just a few months later and another season. I don't know if they're going to take that approach with Chaos Theory, but, who knows? It's definitely possible. I wouldn't get my hopes up. Like anything with this show, I'm really tempering expectations. But, I'm hearing good things and, it's exciting. We're getting more than one season for sure. That's great. The audiobook length is just over 4 hours long. So, some people out there doing the math and they're like, does that make it, 10 episodes? Does that make it 11 episodes? Because they're dividing it by 22 minutes. And then I guess if you're reading an episode as long as the episode takes, and lots of stuff involved. I'm not even worried about that. It's going to be at least 8. We know that. Probably anywhere between 8 and 12. So, 10's a good middle ground. Who knows? But yeah, more than one season. That is pretty awesome. The next bit of news all has to do with toys. Some people might consider these spoilers. So if you're not interested in potential spoilers, I would fast forward a few minutes. I would skip. If you're watching the video on YouTube, I'll go like this. And then you can come back when you see me doing that. If you're listening, sorry, you're just going to have to kind of jump back in and then see if I'm still talking about a toy or not. But anyway, if you remember back several months ago when we first found out about the show, there was a New York toy fair and some news about Chaos Theory toys came out. They listed some species, and we are starting to see some toys of those species being revealed and announced. Now, we don't know for sure if they have the appearance of what they will be in Chaos Theory, but it's a pretty safe assumption that that's what we're getting. New things we've seen recently is the Pachyrhinosaurus in a mainline Mattel toy. We've seen a Beckel Spinex in an Imaginext toy, and that is pretty awesome. One thing of note with the Beckel Spinex is it comes with a Woo figure. Now, if anyone knows anything about the Imaginext toys, they're intended for toddlers, and they don't always have anything to do with the package that they're with. So it could come with some random human. But it is really interesting to think about this animal that is supposed to be in Chaos Theory getting packaged with the Woo toy. I don't know. We don't know what the box for the Imaginext toy is. We don't know if it says Chaos Theory or has the Chaos Theory logo on it. But it is interesting that the rumored Beckel Spinex is getting an Imaginext toy, and it is bundled with Woo. So who knows if we'll see the good doctor, but I think it would be kind of awesome if we did. That is very unexpected, but, could be something really cool. Let's see, what's the next one? Oh, a plushie of a Suchomimus. This one definitely looks a little bit different than all the previous Mattel Suchomimus. I think the color scheme looks really cool. We'll see how it translates to either a mainline toy or, animated in Chaos Theory. I don't want to say the Suchomimus is confirmed, but let's just say some reliable people have confirmed that it is indeed in the show. This is why I said if you don't want spoilers, I really hope you you fast forwarded, because I hope that didn't ruin anything. But I know there is at least one person out there who's going to be super, super excited that if that does happen to be the case. He said, I have no real proof. I'm just hearing this from someone who's been incredibly reliable in the past, and they're saying the Suchomimus is indeed in Chaos Theory. Now, the last toy is, in my opinion, the most interesting of the toys, and it is a set in the Chaos Theory packaging. So this is 100% a Chaos Theory set, and it comes with 2 dinosaurs and 1 human. It comes with a Atrociraptor tiger, which, goes more to that theory that, yeah, the Atrociraptors are going to be in the show. And more interesting is it comes with a Dilophosaurus. Now, these bundles don't always line up, but I'm almost positive a Dilophosaurus is going to show up in the show now. If this is one of the first sets that's coming out for the show, why would they put a dinosaur not in the show? Even if it's not in season 1, maybe it's in season 2. Camp Cretaceous did similar. They released this pack with all these minis, and it had 3 baryonyx in it, and it had a ceratosaurus in it, and none of that was in season 1. And lo and behold, they all show up in season 2. So I do expect the Dilophosaurus to show up, even if it's not in season 1. I would bet we're going to get a Dilophosaurus in this show. And if I keep looking around, I'm sorry, there are cars driving by, and they're looking at me really funny because they see me, what looks like I'm talking to myself. And now, for the big reveal in that toy set, it's a human Ben. We really, really thought and assumed Ben would be in it based on other toy leaks. There was no pictures. It was just hey, this toy is coming out, instead with a large theropod. That is not this set. And also from Sean posting the teaser trailer and then immediately removing it from all of his social media. But this, we have an actual picture in box of grown-up Ben. He's wearing some jeans. He's got a jacket. He's got short hair. He's looking good. And if you're interested, just go out. If you search for it, it's probably going to be super easy to find. Collect Jurassic posted it. And some of the other outlets, have been posting it today now that higher res images of it came out. So once again, if you didn't want to know any kind of spoilers about the dinosaurs or the humans, I apologize. I gave you warning, and I'm going to be done talking about that in 3, 2, 1. All right, see, I'm waving like I said I would after I was done talking about the toys. But yeah, I don't know if you all are excited about that. I'm pretty excited. And, let's get into the episode. So if you remember, a couple months back, I did something called a random rewatch. I used a random number generator to pick a random season, then another one to pick a random episode from that season, and then I would watch it and I would talk about it. So the episode that came up randomly for my random rewatch is Season 1, Episode 6, Welcome to Jurassic World. And it's a really fun episode. I'm not going to kind of do the same breakdown I did last time, where I went through the entire episode. I'm going to kind of give a quick recap of it. But I have something that I want to talk about that kind of stood out in the episode for me and is actually a theme throughout the entire series. So just to refresh your memory, Season 1, Episode 5 ends with the reveal that Sammy had Brooklyn's phone and it was broken, and that caused Yaz to crash the van. So Episode 6 picks up right there. We've got so much tension between all of the campers and Sammy that, she had it the whole time. They could have had a chance to make calls. They could have gotten saved, whatever. And, she lied. She was hiding it from them, and then it got damaged in the fall from the zip line. So she kept hiding it from them. And, everyone's mad, especially Yaz. Yaz finally started opening up to somebody after being in her shell the whole time. And then it's just a lie. And she thinks everything is just one big lie. And then she breaks down. She tells everybody what she was doing for Manticore. But nobody cares. Everyone's just completely ticked at her. And then we cut to one of my favorite things in Season 1 is when they're kind of intertwining Camp Cretaceous with the Jurassic World movie. And that is, we get the Indominus running through with Masrani's helicopter flying over, shooting at it. And then we get to see the whole aviary scene, which, Masrani tragically dies when his helicopter crashes, but it lets all of the pterosaurs out, and then they start heading towards Main Street. Before they get over to Main Street, they're flying over our campers, and that's when they go into the river ride. And we get to see the bioluminescent Parasaurolophus in there. Absolutely beautiful. I think it's a fantastic addition to the show. And, sorry if I'm going through this rapidly. Just quick recap of the episode, like I said, and then I want to get into a different topic that stood out in the episode for me. And, once they exit the river ride, they're in the Mosasaur Lagoon. And from there, they get into a little bit of trouble. They lose the tablet in the lagoon. Yaz, does her thing and saves everybody, but she tragically hurts her ankle, which, could potentially ruin her whole sports career. And, episode ends with the sirens going off in the park. So I just went through an entire episode in like 2 minutes. If you forget it, it's a really good episode. Go back and watch it. I recommend it. Actually, I recommend rewatching the whole thing. You've got 3 months. You got 3 months to catch up on 50 episodes of Camp Cretaceous before Chaos Theory comes out. Go ahead, do it. In fact, I think he is going to organize a rewatch, an unofficial rewatch, where watch one episode a day and talk about it. I think it's a fantastic idea. Let's do it, guys. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about that kind of stood out in this episode, and it's a theme throughout the series, is decisions. And these kids, and remember, they're kids, they're teenagers, they're faced with some really, really difficult decisions throughout the series. And in this one, I'm going to focus on Sammy and on Yaz. And Sammy had to make both on and off-screen decisions that led to the events of this episode. Off-screen, she decided that she's going to, take up Manticore's offer to go and spy and basically do whatever she could to save her family. Her family was against it. Her family didn't want to send her into that to get her into trouble, to put her in danger, anything like that. She made the decision all on her own, knowing that her family would be upset with her, knowing she was doing something wrong, knowing, probably knowing there are some potentially pretty bad consequences for what can happen if she gets caught. Then again, maybe she's not thinking about those things. Remember, she's a teenager. She's a kid. Kids don't always think clearly. Heck, adults don't always think clearly. Sometimes we make decisions in the heat of the moment and we don't really think through the consequences or, what can happen because of our decisions. Then on screen, she makes the decisions not just to follow through, like spying in Wu's lab and getting the DNA sample from the Sinoceratops, putting the data into the drone to send back to Manticore. But she also, makes the decision to take Brooklyn's phone. She knew Brooklyn caught her taking the sample, so she took the phone. She made the decision to keep the phone when she knew very well that the phone was possibly their one chance of being saved and getting help. You might think that's selfish. You might think that's greedy. You might think that's just being a really bad person. And in the moment, it is. And once again, she wasn't thinking of all of the consequences of that decision. She was just thinking, I have to protect myself. I'm here for this purpose. I need to see that purpose through, and I want to save my family. So she's not thinking about the consequences of those decisions that she's making. And she does have to make other decisions at other points throughout the series. And then that takes me to Yaz. Yaz has decisions to make throughout the series, particularly season 3, when she decides to go and get the antivenom after Sammy is, poisoned by the Scorpius. But in this episode, she makes the decision to hang back in the lagoon and distract the Mosasaurus so the rest of the campers can get back onto land safely. And I thought that was really interesting because she didn't really connect with anybody. She didn't talk to anybody. She eventually, over the course of the previous 5 episodes, slowly started opening up to Sammy. And, it started off as an annoyance and then, developed into a friendship. And then she felt complete betrayal. And, even though she was betrayed and lied to, she still made this decision to save everybody. She put herself in danger. She was literally inches away from getting eaten by the Mosasaurus. But, going back to, you don't really understand the consequences or the outcomes of the decisions you make, something probably not going through in her head is, I'm going to have to get back over there onto the land. And when she did, she hurt her ankle and her entire future could be ruined. She's an athlete. She's a track star. And she may never be able to run the same again. She may never be able to walk the same again. Some people suffer serious ankle injuries and they're never the same. I know someone that broke their ankle really bad and they have a permanent limp if they're not using a cane. It's really unfortunate. But, it goes, to what I said earlier, that all throughout this series, these kids are, given the situations where they need to make decisions, and they don't always think through what could happen with the decision. Darius has a lot of decisions to make, and many times he chooses the dinosaurs over his friends, until we get to season 5, where he finally picks, getting off the island over the dinosaurs. And, Brooklyn is faced with the big decision at the end of season 3. Everybody's got decisions to make in the show. And I just wanted to kind of touch on, the whole decision aspect that really stood out in this episode between the decisions Sammy made and then the decision Yaz had to make. And it just got me thinking about, this show is full of these decisions that these kids have to make. And these kids should not be put in situations where they need to make these really, really hard decisions. A 14-year-old or whatever Sammy is, 15, she shouldn't have to decide between, staying home and, going on a corporate espionage mission for some really evil company that wants to steal dinosaur technology and DNA. Yaz shouldn't have to decide if she's going to potentially get eaten by this marine reptile. These poor kids are put in a lot of bad situations where they have to make really hard decisions. And being kids, they don't really fully think them through all the time. Now, like in season 3, when Yaz decides to go get the antidote, she knows what's at risk, but the end result, the positive side of it, is well worth it to her. She's doing everything she can to save Sammy. She knows what the alternative is if she doesn't go, but also she knows what could happen to her, and then what also happens to Sammy if something happens to her. So I'm not saying they always don't think through their decisions, but in this episode, it kind of stood out, especially from Sammy, that she didn't really think through what she was doing when she was, faced with these decisions. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying the word decision today. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's it for, my thoughts on the random rewatch of season 1, episode 6. Welcome to Jurassic World. It's brief. I did a really quick 2-minute recap of the episode. Like I said, if you want to get refreshed, caught up, definitely go watch it. It's a good episode. Season 1, episode 4 might be my favorite episode of season 1. I'm not sure. That's, everything just starts breaking down. And we get the Indominus for the first time, and it's awesome. And it might be my favorite just because of how in awe of the Indominus my son was the first time he saw it, and he was like, oh, I need a toy of that. It's a memory that's always going to stick in my head. Anyway, we're not talking about episode 4, we're talking about episode 6. So go watch it if you need a refresher on it. Thank you for listening to me rant and rave about these kids and the decisions that they make. And, I'll try not to have so long going between random rewatches. Let's get another one in sometime soon. I have a backlog of community Q&A that I'm going to go through. I think I've got 4 or 5 in the queue that I have to edit, mix, and upload. I don't want to do them all back to back because I don't know if you guys, are okay with every episode for the next 2 months being a community Q&A. So I'm going to try to get other episodes in between. So next week will hopefully be another community Q&A, and then who knows, maybe another random rewatch. Maybe we'll have a trailer that I can do an episode talking about the trailer and breaking down the trailer. Maybe we'll get some big news. I don't know. Maybe I'm working on trying to get an interview with one of the people involved in the making of the show. I don't want to say who or what exactly they did, just in case things don't work out. But, maybe that'll be available. I'm not sure. Tempering expectations a little bit with that too. We'll see how things work out. Most of these people aren't allowed to do much because they can't talk about the show. So I kind of have to be careful about how I present the opportunity to do an interview or come on the podcast. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed. Everyone stay safe, stay Jurassic, and have yourselves a great day. So long.